Spory dzisiaj ruch, ale dodatkowe miejsce zawsze się znajdzie. Patrzajcie, chłopcy, kto przyszedł.
How unenjoying the interruption of a connection cable is. If the connection is glued in, you can throw away the whole coil. So I made a small junction box here. A piece of foam prevents from wobbling. And the lid has to be glued. The two coils TX and RX are fixed with epoxy glue and have an almost perfect so-called nulling. My adjusting device consists a slight bend of the straight piece of the RX coil. A plastic screw with a plastic nut does this. To this point a small box is built around. Here you see the shifting of the RX signal, the lower blue one. The yellow upper one is the TX as a reference. The best nulling point is slightly overcoupled, but later further details. Before pouring out, one must be absolutely sure that this oblong box and screw nut are dense, because here no resin should come into. The pouring out of the coil cover in the usual way, without such an adjusting device, became always a problem to me. I confirm that because I have never experienced that after pouring the so-called nulling has matched. Slow curing epoxy resin. The last step to the coil is pouring out the casing. To save some weight, I use so-called micro balloons, tiny hollow glass spheres. There must be mixed so many micro balloons into the resin until a thick mass is made. On this remnant you can see the characteristics. Hard, inelastic, lightweight. That's what I wanted. Here is shown once again the so-called nulling. The shifting through the null phase is visible. RX is not at the absolute minimum, but very close, a little bit overcoupled. The adjusting screw gets sealed. The weight difference is not so impressive. It seems it's only 50 grams. But on the old one I milled out 120 grams. So adds up the difference to 170 grams. That's the whole electronics. On the top of the housing is the user manual. On the front end are all buttons, connectors and switches. There is socket 12 volt DC, on-off switch and pilot light. The volume control. The speaker. Jack for the headphones. A switch audio to LED signal. Controller for ground balance. Switch for ferrous metal discrimination. Regulator for discrimination of gold, silver, brass, bronze to aluminum. The two-tone switch. High tone for not discriminated metals and low tone for discriminated metals. Regulator for sensitivity. Usually turned to the limit to the interference. The front end. Plug for the coil. A look inside. To get so flat, I used for the large electrolytic capacitors smaller one by 16 volt SMD shape. The large 8 volt regulator I swept off the flag and tipped him. The both integrated circuits LM308 were not easily to get shut. I replaced them with the OP07. And finally the two-tone board. My self-made PCB. Sometimes I build things twice. For troubleshooting, this makes things a lot easier. I guess Snowflake becomes vegetarian. What she feeds is called here cat's mint. Nevertheless, the PCB production is well known and often shown. The PCB for the TGSL is one-sided. The film is 3 times printed to be light tight. To fit the front and back, the film must be shaped into a pocket. The top contains the bridges and the component plan. Both sides of the PCB are positive photo-coated. That's my UV exposure unit. And his complete inner workings are out of a UV nail dryer for €15. The black case and the 8 cm distance between the lamps and the film produces less scattering and sharper contours. Developing, cleaning, etching. Therefore are these small plastic balls. When developing and etching, I support some less advanced areas with a sponge. So far, PCB production, so good safety. If with acid is worked, eyes, hands and respiration must be protected. Quick access to water is important. Make sure water is ready for emergency. The eyes have to be protected with protective goggles. The hands have to be protected with acid protection gloves. The workplace must be aired. Adjusting the TGSL is known. A piece of ferrite is swung across the coil and the ground balance slider rotated to the right until the signal falls silent. Iron is recognized. Then push the switch to the ferrite disk combination. Iron signals silence. Swing an empty tablet packing above the coil and turn the discrimination slider to the right until it gets quiet. The two-tone switch allows discriminated metals and not discriminated metals to hear in two tones. Last named but not shown is the sensitivity controller, the very right one. He will be turned so far to the left that the interferences start to disturb.
In the time of global crisis, when the robots threaten the world, the end of heroes they decided for the end of the bloody war. They succeeded with